Day 2, I'm at Locus Gap tent site. So that's where I spent the night. Give you a little 360. There's my tent. Tarp tent, single. Got my bag here. Slept very well. Had a good night. Had a large breakfast, a lot of calories. Trying to lighten my pack load at 35 pounds plus. So maybe now I'm down to 35 by the time you have water. I'll give you a look at the campsite and I'm gonna get back on trail. I spent a lot of time eating a lot of calories. Nutella, a little peanut butter, granola, oatmeal. I had some aged cheese. I buy aged cheese. I've had it a couple days outside. I ate 8 ounces. I had a whatever you call a sleeve, and I finished that. Get that where it's not sitting any longer unrefrigerated. So, but no, a lot of calories. Big breakfast. All right, yeah, there's my pack. They had a fire going. There's a couple last night. I also ate lunch with at Sassafras shelter. We just ate lunch there. Little campsite here, a lot of logs. Designated tent site, pretty open down here. There's blue blaze and water over that hill. But a good night, nice view, eating breakfast in the forest. All right, well, I'm getting a late start, about 9:45 a.m. of course. Be rolling up that tent, putting it on top of that pack, and away I go. Hiking with Rambler, hiking on with Mike. Going uphill, I'll show you the trail here in a moment. I've got 8.5 miles to the next shelter. There's like 21 miles or so in the next 2 days to get at the bottom of the mountain going into the Smoky Mountains, which is the permit territory, the national park, Smoky Mountains. So 21 miles thereabout in 2 days. So if I go 8.5, I'm at a shelter. And I don't know if it said Rufus, but if I go like 11.7, I'm at a tent camp again. And I somewhat had that initially planned. So I'll be that much closer to Fontana Dam shelter, which is the last stop before the Smokies, the permit box for thru hikers. I have my permit. So let's look at the trail starting out. I'm in the startup right now. Just getting my legs going. Here's the trail. Little incline from the tent gap. Locust Gap tent site. Last night's home. So pretty smooth inclines here. There's one steep incline. I don't think it's real long between here and that other tent site. But other than that, I mean, there's up and downs. I've listened to many YouTubers enough anyway on the trail. Some call them pointless up and downs, but that's the mountains and that's the trail. So here's what we got. Plenty of ranges around us going into the Smokies. I wanted to give you a little look at the startup, and I'm gonna go ahead and get some momentum and come back to you on up the trail. All right, just in my first hour, I said I would somewhat mark my footage by what hour I'm in. Still early in the first hour. Zoom in. We've got some views. Get on some of these ridges. Start to see there is some layers to those mountains out there. One ridge to the next, or as it elevates. But here we are, an incline and a downhill in the first half mile here. I've had a couple equipment errors, one of my own making. I carry a Garmin 67i. That's about a $650 unit. Text messaging. It's got the military grade for outdoors. You can use it in the rain. It's got finger buttons that are not like a cell phone. You have to click buttons to a menu keyboard, but you're clicking buttons and it's waterproof. Use it in the rain. Anyway, I wear it on a clip on my belt, but whenever you bend over or hit it, when you push up on the phone that hangs from the clip, it falls off. So yesterday I lost it. It's the second time it's happened. It came off while hiking. But yesterday it was within 100 yards. So I did find it quickly, and probably less than that, probably 75 yards. So not a major event, even though it was a concern. I check it more and more. One time my wife and I were doing the Cooper's Gap to Amicalola Falls visit in the visitor center. Got a hiker coming up here. I lost it and I had to go back almost a mile. I'll pause here. But I did find it where I had sat down. When you bend over, it tends to push up on the phone, lifting it out of the clip. All right, so yeah. So then the second thing, I did a equipment video on my hiking poles, Sierra Madre, but they haven't proven as awesome as I first rated them. They're great poles, but when they shipped, they didn't ship me the rubber tips. And when my wife reported it, they just sent a ticket back on an email. Oh, here's a ticket that this happened. So I'll see if I get the tips. But then out here on the trail, I had to use the old tips. Maybe it was a little looser, but I already lost one tip. And I don't like that because the pointy, it picks up leaves like you're a leaf picker, a trash picker, and it seems to get stuck more because it digs in more. So, but then now, just this morning, they all come with a little handle. I'll show you this other one. These little handles, they help keep it on your wrist. You can use that, actually use that for leverage. When you put your hand in there, that gives you leverage. That actually is helping you pull back and get leverage onto the top of the stick. And anyway, it came out. And then I was looking at how to get it back in, and there's a little clip inside the hole. See that little hole there? There's a little clip in there. And I pulled out the clip halfway to see how to insert the strap back in. Well, I pulled a little harder, and the clip came all the way out, flew out of my hand into the woods. No way to find it. I heard it hit a tree. I heard a click sound where it hit the tree down off the trail. So it's gone. So now I'll hike without a strap, which is okay. I just need to make sure I don't lose the stick and it's not attached to my hand. That's kind of a safety strap when it's attached to your hand. So when you get it caught or stuck, you don't lose your grip, have to let go to keep from hurting your hand, and you don't have a strap holding on to it. Kind of like the strap I think surfers have to their board. You have a strap to stay attached to it so they don't lose it in the waves. So I don't know, maybe I can't blame the company, but that strap came out. Never happened in my first pair over 4 years. Never came out. This came out first time on trail on the second day. All right, just saying. I'll catch you on up the trail. Hiking in the wide open here. Trail just winds through this open area. Coming through the side of this hill or mountain. I was noticing that this section of trail just wide open when you have the whole view. You just see down kind of open pine. Numerous, but growing apart. Of course, I call them pine. I don't think they're pine. I need to take that back. They're not evergreen. Their leaves are gone. I'm used to Florida talk. When you see a lot of straight trees straight up like that, spaced apart, those are not pine. I forgot where I am, I think. North Carolina, heading to the foot of the Smoky Mountains on the south entrance, so to speak, of the Appalachian Trail. I've noticed this section has a lot of roots in the ground, and we're still perilously close to drop-offs. And sometimes this trail really narrows. I was on a similar ridge to this with a higher mountain slope to my right of the trail. And 3 guys, old as me, probably older, were going southbound. And I had to go by them on the downside of the trail with my 35-pound pack all loaded up, and they were packed out, and it was tight. I had to slither through and not get nudged, or I would have been in bad shape. There's no fall point when it gets steep on some of these, it's almost a ledge. It's not like a cliff, but it seems like it. It's leaves and a drop off, and it'd be a hard fall and a hard recovery. All right, well, here's a look at the trail. That's what's happening. I'm almost in my second hour. I'm coming right up on finishing my first hour. So I just said I'd timeline the video and my comments by try to space it apart on the hours. Where we are now, we've been a little uphill, a little downhill, nothing serious. I see now we're gonna get an uphill, but I expect it to be nothing like one of the more difficult inclines up from the NOC, Nantahala Outdoor Center in Bryson City, North Carolina. Headed through the Smokies, the hostel on the north end, just past Davenport Gap, and I-40 is Standing Bear Farm Hostel. Here I am, this is my marker sign telling me what we're looking at. That Chio Bald. I think I was calling the peak I bagged by that name. So I think I was winging it. I work for a general manager doing a management job of production, manufacturing. General manager would say, "You're winging it." That'd be coming off the cuff, pulling out of your sock. Sometimes you try to grab for an answer. You're like, "You're winging it." It's hard to work like this out here, and then every step to even document it. I think it's worthwhile and meaningful. But to keep up with all the information, there's others like me out here. I watch the YouTubers. We're just out here. We're just looking at this trail. We're gonna be out here. Look at this downhill right here. It's early in the day. Yesterday, the downhills, my legs were really feeling it. It's early in the day here now, but these leaves are slippery and they're a little bit treacherous. So legs are more fresh today. Overall, sleeping a little soreness in the back, no pain. Legs, they know they've been working as they're not fresh anymore. But I'm expecting them to rise to the occasion. I need quick trail legs is the way I talk about it. Through hikers get the trail legs. I don't have time to wait. I need them day 2. All right, well, we're sloping on down. We are in the second hour now, early on. Sloping on down the trail to meet you on up the trail, northbound. Next stop, there's a shelter, Rufus shelter. That'll be lunch or something, water. That will not be overnight. There's a tent site I mentioned, and then I think another. Well, maybe that's another thing I need to look at again, refresh. Because the shelter is what I'm skipping to get to the tent site. All right, all is well. Hiking on with Mike, trail name Rambler. Rambler here. The views don't end. This is the Disneyland of hiker. It is. They're behind me now. Let me do a 360. Well, I'm rotating back. This is another ridge. Now the sun's behind me, obviously. But I'll flip the camera around, see if I can get a view. The long shots of mountains, they're reoccurring out here, and I think through the Smokies. It's, someone called it a forest bath, a mountain bath. The views keep coming. I did want to mention I'm wearing my kettle hoodie. It's more of a sun shirt, and the sun hoodie is to protect from the sun. All right, well, I switched the cameras, the better camera on the iPhone. All right, going up and down. I was thinking some more about a YouTuber that talks about pointless up and downs, PUDs. I don't see that. I started thinking about that. It seemed like there was an old show some people really like, Everybody Loves Raymond. He was known as a complainer, a moaner, a bemoaner. And there was one show where he tried to be more positive, but then he went back to his bemoaning and him-hawing, complaining. He said, that's who I am, that's what I enjoy, that's where I feel best, that's my home, complaining. But anyway, yeah, talking about PUDs, you come out to the pointless up and downs, you come out to the mountains. Hey, this is the mountains. This is what you're buying. This is what you sign up for. This is what the hike is. This is what we're here for. We're gonna conquer this trail. We're gonna go up and down. We're gonna traverse the mountains. As I like to say in a walk in the woods. A walk in the woods. All right, well, we're hiking on with Mike. There's a trail winding through. Hikers Disneyland. I walked about 150 yards, 360 mountains on this bald. Sunrise came over right now. The sun is on this side, coming back around. 360. We're in the mountains. Went uphill, back down. That's where we're headed. Catch you on up the trail. Hiking on with Mike. All right, we're on a turnaround ledge, and I could even see a community down in the valley. We can hear construction. So this is 270 degrees. Come down here, make this turn, going back downhill. So when I came up, I saw the first time I've really seen much town. I've noticed, and it's right there. There's the town. We're in the sunshine. It's easier to see with the naked eye. But yeah, and there's roads visible on the other side. I call it a 270 degree. When you do that, all you have is a ledge, and we're turning back around the mountain, making another U-turn here, going downhill. Probably might end up down there by that construction. So we've got these steps here. So I'm gonna take my care on this with my heavy pack. It calls for caution. In the sunshine, in my kettle hoodie, my sun shirt. All right, well, doing a little rock hopping now. One thing about rock hopping, let's see, can I see the rocks behind me? See how heavy my pack is, standing tall, my tarp tent's on top. These rocks here, I'll show you what's in front of me, tell you my pro tip. Looking right here. So, been coming downhill, a lot of dirt trail up this way, but coming through these rocks. Got a little rock section, so I wanted to show you the trail had changed, show you what I'm dealing with. My pro tip, when I go through these, now I will go backwards with a heavy pack. I'm turning around now, just to get my footing secure and lean forward so that weight's not taking me down. But my pro tip, when I walk these, I don't do the high step. I always look for the most level path. I don't do that high step. So I always pick what's most level. And I think it was like Winding Stair Gap. I'm probably mistaken, the gap before that in North Carolina. I'm in North Carolina now. But I was doing 4 miles per hour for about a mile, maybe 3/4 of a mile, going downhill using that method. Now I have to step up there, no choice. But when these rocks are running a distance, I'm running out now. The path may even give you the idea you should step up, step down, step up, step down. But I never use a step up unless it takes me on a level. Always looking for a level, that way I'm not pulling myself up or down, and I can move more efficiently, more smoothly, and less chance of a problem, a trip. And especially with this heavy pack, I'm trying to avoid jarring, because somebody said it's like doing dip. I say dip squats. When you have a heavy pack, your legs are carrying that weight. Of course, the weight's back support on your hips attached to your legs. So you don't want that load. It'll take you where it wants to go. If you get too much momentum, inertia, that's the old high school physics. The body in motion will remain in motion unless acted upon by another force. That 35 pounds take you where it wants to go. That's how tripping happens and falls. Now, I don't believe in jinxes, because I believe in Jesus, and he bless our step. He keeps our feet steady. Haha. He's helping me out here. He's my strength. But I haven't fallen day and a half. And that might be a record. But I'm getting more experience. My second solo hike out here. Over 100 miles on the AT, or 100 miles. All right, staying up. I'm staying upright, getting it on, moving on up the trail. I like to get shots of these information signs. They're weathered. So there's one here. We'll see how it comes out. I know it could be difficult to read. We're coming to road construction. We did make it down to the base of this mountain. The construction, you know, that's a rear alarm. When you hear that tone, that's my imitation. You can hear it right now. That's industrial equipment backing up, forklifts backing up. So we're down here at the road. We made it all the way down this mountain. And so we're gonna cross here, and I'll see what is available here. Possibly the portalet. I've heard there's some water here. All right, we're crossing the next threshold or benchmark. There's quite a retaining wall here holding that mountain back. Cruising around this mountain, headed to a shelter here for a little break, 1.2 miles. And then there's water like 0.3 after that. So coming through this mountain, had some smooth sailing downhill that was not steep, that I could have 3 miles per hour plus. Let gravity take me as long as you can control it. I did have a trouble with this hiking pole with no handle on it. See, one has the handle I talked about earlier. So I'm running downhill because it's not steep. You know, 4 miles per hour pace, something. Well, I learned something. One of the hiking poles got in between my feet, almost tripped me. But I was able to step through and get over it without it locking in between my legs like a tackle. Like a linebacker's tackle. But because there's no grip, the pole went down the hill about 3 feet. So I had to lean around a thorn bush, in the middle of a thorn bush, and reach down and get it because it didn't have that little strap that I'm talking about that broke out, slipped out. I consider it defective. So one black mark, black eye on that Sierra Madre collapsible hiking pole. All right, we're on a steep climb though. I'm gonna have to get serious. Catch you on up the trail at the shelter. Lunch break. Rambler here, getting my butt kicked. This incline I'm on, I looked it far out. I thought it was 700 feet. It shows straight uphill, and it is. I've hiked all the way from the visitor center to here over the last 3-4 years. And I haven't done any singular stretch this difficult. But I'm moving slowly and about out of water. But there's water. When I get over this hill, there's a shelter. 0.3 miles later, there's a stream. And piped, I think, water moving slowly, but they said there's water. Of course, I'll need that. I want to show you this incline. All right, I'm pointing downhill. 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 I'm trying to say how far it goes. I don't hear anybody say much, this is a booger, but this is a booger. Not a common term, really. I've seen before, there's the peak. It looked like that from where I came from, 700 feet. I mean, I am pointing up. This thing has gone on and on and on. But that's why we train. That's why we're out here. You need the legs to do this. All right, I'm still on the up and up. Out of breath, I stopped to take in the view. It does go all the way around. The layers in an iPhone, see some layers there of the mountain. See, when you see a front and back peaks or ridges, that creates the effect. You see that with the naked eye. I can see the two ridges there. More layers there are to the ridges. All right, well, I'm taking it a little bit at a time. Still on the way up. I will make it. Well, I'm getting close to the shelter. 0.1 off trail, but I don't need the shelter, so I'm not going to take it. 0.2, I'll be at water. I need the water. That's what I want, water. All right, so things are going well. We got another sign telling me where I am right now, so let's take a look at it for the team, for the cause. A lot of people, and it's worthwhile to sit and take lunch at a shelter. But I'm moving on and keep this thing going. All right, there's a stream. Far Out has comments, and they told me I'm good for the stream. It's slow, but it's trusted. It's there. There's water to be had. Most needed since I'm out. I got one, what you call a swig. That's one swallow. I didn't mention, but crossed a big construction project on the road. I took a shot of it in the video. I met two guys from Michigan, and I gave them trail names. They started in Springer Visitor Center, and they're just before Fontana Dam with no trail names. Because I asked them their name, they gave me their, what do you call it, their Christian name, their birth name. But I was able to give them both names. So this is the third, and they accepted them. This is the third person I've given trail names to, but I explained the way it works. Hey, that's a trail name, keep it, and then until you get something better. You like something better? Switch. But you need a trail name. You're out here. That's the culture. That's what we do. We're out here with trail names. You got to belong. But and they were even shy about, they were trying to go as far as they can. Their goal's Katahdin, but they were very closed mouth. I got it out of them. So really, that's why I called it. I said, I encouraged him. I said, fantastic, great for you, whoop, whoop. Not quite in those words, but I said, that's awesome. And go far as you can. And they say, yeah, because I think it's, they're younger than I am, but they're probably 60-ish. And it's a stretch. You start talking Katahdin, that's a stretch. So I think they're more looking at what can they endure before they've had too much. They're concerned about rain in the Smokies. So that's what we hear. No rain, no Maine. And there's some things holding them back besides the strain. And they say a lot of it's mental. Of course, I'm not out there, so I have nothing to say. That's why I say, yay for them. Go far as you can. I like it. They've already come from the visitor center to the road there just past Sassafras Gap. Of course, when I asked them where they're headed, they're not going there today. They said Fontana Dam. That might have been their bail point. They might be of a mind that assessing their future. I kind of gathered that, but I told them the Smokies are awesome, worth it. So, yeah, best to them. All right, well, I'm hiking on. I'm gonna get this water. Yes, I have water, the liquid of life. That's a blue blaze coming down this little hill. There's how much water I had left when I got here. And they set little pipes in to catch the stream. That pipe's only that long. It's catching that little trough there of water coming out with a trickle, but that's life-giving there. Gotta have it, or I would be at risk. All right, well, I'm gonna have lunch here. I'm gonna fill my dehydrated meal. I've already got them that full. That little pipe, it's still, you can get it pretty full. I mean, I drank out of one of them there. I'll top it off. All right, well, it's looking good now because I have water. Rambler, having fun on the trail. Why come out here if you're not gonna have fun? Having the time of my life. The only thing I miss is my wife that I see every day. But we have another epic view just walking in the woods here. That's a trail where I'm headed that direction. But if I turn out here, more long views of the mountains and the wide open spaces. It's wide open out there. Mountains everywhere now, headed towards the Smokies. Let's see, yeah, see there's a river out there. Look how blue that is. I'm sure it's the reflection of the sky that really is amplified in this lighting. That's awesome. See that river? How blue is that? That's epic. Probably about a little over 2 miles to the tent camping. The green tunnel is back. I'll call these bramble bushes. Common feature coming over the trail, shadows, the sun to our left, probably the west and headed north makes sense. So there's plenty of footage to catch. One time somebody told me a Master of Science after a bachelor's earned is called more of the same, MS, Master of Science, more of the same. Some of the trail footage, yeah, it might look like more of the same, but it's a joy to see the changing effects. I went through some rock scrambles around, I call it ledges, and it was interesting enough to shoot, but we don't want to think, oh, it's just more of the same, because there's a lot to take in here and it constantly changes. So we're heading down through these bramble bushes, the green tunnel. Going downhill, I need both my hands though, because this weight, still 35 pounds. I've only been whittling away on food, but now I'm carrying 5 pounds of water. The tent site I'm headed to only has water that's 0.4 miles away. Some wood benches made out of log, obviously. Some fallen log there, a sitting area. There's views on both sides. Of course, that's a little narrow over there. But here's the trail. I looked at my distance to my tent site, 0.8. They did call it an unofficial camp or tent site, saying there's 4 spots available. So I expect to do fine and get a spot there. I do need one. Day one, I had fresh legs. Day two, I have worn legs. They feel worn. I'm making the same mileage as day one, like 10 miles, 10 miles. So that puts me in good distance for Fontana Dam. It's been said the Fontana Dam shelter is called the Fontana Dam Hilton because it has showers, flush toilets, place to put your trash, and charging stations. So they're trying to accommodate everything a hiker could need because it's the last stop before the Smoky Mountains, which has certain restrictions about staying in shelters, permit required. There's 12 spots reservable in the Smokies, and they come up every 10 miles or so, sometimes a little less, a little more, but you can gap it in pretty well. I think the longest gap I have is 12 miles. And there's one place to get off trail, Newfound Gap. But for me, I'm thinking about getting off there, coming back the next morning. And I only have 2 more nights and 3 hiking days to finish my 105 miles. So Fontana Dam, that's a big deal. Village. I might try to catch a meal there. It would be good. I think they have some resupply. So I'll check my food. I'll need to get to Newfound Gap. Of course, in the Smokies, they say things like subject to road closures, but this time of year, I'm not taking anything for cold weather. When I say that, freezing weather, nothing for ice like micro spikes. I left some very nice lightweight mittens for waterproof for rain and cold to protect the hands. I left them in my truck. Yeah, so one other thing on my mind, I hiked, let's see, right now, it's at 4:45 p.m. I'm in my 7th hour of hiking. But after about 4.5 hours, I realized I don't have my power bank in my fanny pack, which I carry for my Garmin, some energy gels, electrolyte powders, but somewhat it's intended for electronics. So I have my Garmin, my cell phone, and my power bank. 4.5 hours in, I realized my power bank's not in my pouch, my fanny pack where I keep it, in my electronics pack. So I go back over the trail of where have I been, what did I do with it? I mean, in my mind, you think about when did you last see it and so on. So my last memory is when I slept with it last night. I thought, well, I'm gonna top off my phone in the morning, charge it and top it off. Well, I didn't do that. So the other side of that, the second consideration, last night was cold. I mean, it probably got down into the 40s. Maybe 50. At least 50. But anyway, it was cold enough that my power bank went from 4 dots to 2 dots to charge my iPhone 16 Max. And I thought that was too much to charge one phone. And it's a high-end battery pack. So I said, well, maybe the cold's getting to it. So I put my power bank in it's called the foot box of your sleeping bag. That's where of course, where your feet go, and it's closed in. I have a quilt, and of course it said sleeping bag. I use a quilt, but it has a foot box that doesn't zip down. It stays in a box, so it's a foot box. Important to keep your feet warm, and that's what it does. No breach there like zipper or gap. I put it down there to keep it warm during the night because when it gets cold, things like water bottles, keep in your sleeping bag so they don't freeze. That's true of your filters, Sawyer filters. Of course, I use the Be Free. And I didn't think about that, but Be Free, I don't know if it might need the same attention. I just thought it now, talking about this subject. So, yeah, I think it's in the foot box. Last time I saw it. Put it in the foot box to keep it warm. In the morning, I rolled up my sleeping quilt. Foot box always goes first in the bag. The sleeping quilt goes in a plastic bag to make sure it's dry, because that's deadly if it gets wet. Down can't get wet. It doesn't dry like some synthetics. So, foot box goes down first. It's all closed up, pushing it down in my bag. So, I'm expecting and counting on seeing that battery pack in the foot box in my quilt. And that'll be a hallelujah. That'll be, yes, success, because sometimes it's hard to keep track of things, but the more you're out here, you get used to it more and more. All right, well, you see this trail, we're getting a shady side of the mountain. We're hiking forward, kind of level, so it's kind of nice. I was able to talk and walk. Yeah, my shoulder gets tired holding the phone. I know these guys, I watch a lot of YouTubers, they hold a selfie stick. Of course, I saw one guy, he holds it low, and no doubt his arm's tired. Your shoulder gets tired. Like right now, I'm using my left hand. I've used quite a bit in my right hand, but it's not holding up strength-wise, getting tired. So then you're like, well, let me stop this. My arm's tired. So I'm holding the left, holding it close, and I like try GoPro. I don't see them much on the YouTubers, so not sure of the effect. I don't think they do cinematic and the views as well. Cinematic. What is there? I think there's a panoramic. So here we are, moving in a little bit, 2x. All right, well, we'll see how we do, if any noticeable difference. All right, I'm gonna scramble this rock and be safe, closing into my overnight home tent site.